Get his head up deep in that pepper grass. Welcome to another episode of Bassin' with Captain Lou with AE Fishing. Guys, have you ever had one of those days where you come in with a solid game plan, but the bass have other ideas for you? Stick around in this video because I was challenged. I was challenged for a very long time, for over 3 hours before I got even my first bite. But the reason why I'm showing you guys this video is because I want you guys to come along with me and I explain to you guys my strategies on how I started coming across fish. So I threw the big swim bait for 30 minutes. The only thing I got was in the last minute, I got a miss over here, a strike. It wasn't a big one. So I'm gonna move on to the next bait. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna throw the swim bait again. It just means that the bite wasn't there for the swim bait this morning so far. All right, another half hour, 0 on the spinnerbait. And when I mean 0 on the spinnerbait, I didn't move one fish. Not one fish chased it, not one fish boiled on it. I mean, nothing. So now I gotta put my thinking cap on because I'm an hour in, 2 separate baits, big profile baits, and not even a whiff. I mean, I had that one little strike, but whatever. But understand that the purpose of my outing so far is to target bigger bass. I know bigger bass, you got to cover a lot of water, you got to put your time in. I understand all those things. However, I haven't moved anything. I've seen a couple little bucks, but that's basically it. So I'm going to continue forging forward. I got two more lures to try out. That's part of my big bass arsenal. So far, let me explain the conditions. It's very calm right now. There is some current, believe it or not. So the area has changed. But it's very, very quiet. And what I mean by that is there's no feeding activity, none whatsoever. I may get the occasional little movement on top of the water, but that could be minnows or other type of fish, but it's not bass. So here we go for the next half hour. Let's see what happens. So I wanted to provide you guys with an update 2 hours in. Over 2 hours in, and I've only jumped one little bass. I mean, little bass on a big swim jig. So now these fish got me thinking. I have to start adapting. I got to start figuring some things out here. So stick around. This is going to be an interesting trip so far. So welcome back, folks. I wanted to take the time and talk to you guys as I move locations. I know that the weather around the country is not the best right now. Some of you guys watching may be snowed in. Sorry. But I wanted to take the time and thank you and welcome all the new subscribers to the channel. My last few videos have produced a lot of new subscribers, and for that we are very thankful. I am out here working hard to provide you guys with some new content today. The fishing's a little bit slow, so I have to move locations. Enjoy the scenery as I talk to you, but I just wanted to take a moment and say welcome and thank you for subscribing. So as I mentioned, the trip is not going the way I want it to go, but that's the beauty about bass fishing out here in the Everglades. You just never know on any given day how the bite's going to be. I guess that's why it's called fishing. It's not called catching. So nonetheless, I'm moving locations. I want to bring you guys along, and I'm sharing with you guys this because, yes, I do my best to try to provide you guys with some entertainment and some fish catching content. But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So for this year, what I want to do is, regardless of my trip, I want to bring you guys along and share with you guys my thought processes and how I adjust. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes I get the biggest piece of humble pie ever. And that's just the way it goes when it comes to bass fishing. But it will not deter me from sharing with you guys my thought process, because maybe something that I talk about may help one of you in your home waters or in this area of the Everglades for you guys. Maybe you guys may come up with something based off something I said. So stick around and let's see if the change of location causes these bass to bite in another area. Over 3 hours into my outing, and this is my first bass. Little, I know. Sad, really, right? Yeah, I know. But you know what? I'll take those little fish after 3.5 hours of fishing. Okay, so after 2.5 hours, I'm starting to see signs of life. That is a positive thing. Every time I go bass fishing, I try to catch the biggest bass possible. But right now they're biting small, so it is what it is. The point is, you got to cover a lot of water. I went into the interior of the marshes a little while ago, spent a couple hours over there, didn't catch anything. I started moving a little bit more shallower, a little bit more thicker vegetation, and now the bite is starting to pick up. Was it a change of location? Was it the time of day? I don't know, but I'm gonna start capitalizing on this bite regardless. Gotta get his head up deep in that pepper grass. It's a decent fish. I'll take it. Decent fish. Oh. I will take it. Hit the 5-inch swim bait. They haven't been hitting the big swim bait, but they hit this little one, or this smaller one, so I'll take it. So here's the fun part. I get to try my new scale. I know this is not a giant of a fish, but I get to try this new scale. It's the Catch Commander, and I've been itching to use this scale today. So let's see how big this fish is, how heavy it is. All right, it was 214. Okay, but the cool thing about this scale is it has a culling feature. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to store it, and now I'm going to go ahead and see what my top 5 fish of the day was. Another nicer fish on the spinnerbait. I mean, understand, I know they're not giants, guys, I know that. But man, am I having fun, especially when the bite is slow. When the bite is slow and you start figuring out a bite, it's very welcoming and refreshing to the mind. I mean, the big fish will come when the big fish will come. So one of the lures that I switched to for searching for these bass was the spinnerbait. You guys know I've done countless videos on the spinnerbait. It's a very fun bait for me, a fun lure, but I use it as a search bait, and when there's a nice fish to be had, they freaking hit the spinnerbait nice and hard. What's cool about the spinnerbait bite today, especially in this shallow water, because this water is anywhere between 2.5 feet and it's very, very clear, is that you can see the blades of the spinnerbait just ticking along, and all of a sudden, boom, it disappears and it gets heavy really fast. That's what I love about spinnerbait fishing, is you see your spinnerbait 1 second, then it's gone the next. Parting gift of the day. That's the biggest bass of the day. I gotta head home, last cast, and look. All right, folks, I gotta get going. The conditions here are getting a little worse. It's just raining and I don't want to get my equipment all messed up. Okay, but when it comes to slow type of fishing, you got to stay the course, you got to cover a lot of water, you got to change gears, you got to change baits, you got to change locations. Notice that I said change a lot. You have to change until you find the pattern. Once you find the pattern, or once you find an area where the fish are active, capitalize on it, because they could turn on 1 second and then turn off the next. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like the video, share the video, you better yet subscribe. We are growing. We got a huge surge of new subscribers and I'm excited, and I want you guys to be part of that. Take care of yourselves.